Welcome back. Today I want to tell you about 4 of the celebrity memoirs / autobiographies I've read recently. I downloaded all of these from the library and listened to them on audiobook because I really enjoy hearing autobiographies and memoirs read by the person that wrote them. So the first one I listened to was Girl Walks Into a Bar by Rachel Dratch. If you remember one of my very first book hauls, which was a library book haul, I borrowed this book from the library and I never got around to reading it. So I decided to download the audiobook version so that I could hear Rachel Dratch telling her story in her own way. The great thing about listening to the audiobook is that I can kind of speed it up. I listened to it on 1.5 speed, and it meant that all of these reads were really quite quick reads. I listened to them over a couple of days, each of them, and so that's how I was able to fit in all 4 in quite a short space of time. So Girl Walks Into a Bar tells of not just Rachel Dratch's time on SNL, because that's probably what she's best known for, but also how she got into improv and how she got there, and more importantly what's happened since SNL. It talks about her forays into dating and the kind of auditions that she's kind of typecast for, and it ends in a way I kind of really wasn't expecting it to end, but I really enjoyed listening to it. She was completely open and honest the entire way through the video, the audiobook, and I think that's why I enjoyed listening to it so much. There was some real laugh out loud moments obviously as well because she's a comedian, and I really enjoyed that one. So definitely recommend that one if you've ever seen Rachel Dratch on SNL or anything else after that for that matter. The second book I want to talk to you about is Seriously, I'm Kidding by Ellen DeGeneres. Now, this book came out a few years ago, so I'm quite late to the party, but if you've ever seen on my blog my kind of books I wish Santa would bring me, or kind of books on my kind of wish list on Amazon, then it's always been on there. And so again, I kind of took the step and downloaded it from the library, listened to it on audiobook. There was a fantastic moment where I was listening to it whilst driving along, and I was coming down a bit of a hill, and I just had this like fantastic view of the mountains. And she talked about, because this was an audiobook, like being able to see us, but of course she can't see us as listeners, but she likes to think that we're in sunny Colorado looking out at the mountains. And I was like, can she see me at this point? Because the sun is shining, I'm looking at the mountains, I'm in Colorado. It was that was just so funny. There are some really funny points in the book. It's more of a kind of collection of ideas and kind of comedic musings than it is specifically a memoir. I would say that, you know, there's probably going to be a bigger, fuller memoir come out in the future, but it was generally a funny listen. There are so many chapters to this book because some of the chapters are just a few words, some of the chapters are quick lists, and some of the chapters are simple anecdotes. Some of the chapters are longer, but again, listening to this one read by Ellen was definitely the way to go, because she reads it completely the way she wants it to sound like, and completely the way you would picture Ellen saying it anyway. So even if you're not a particular fan of Ellen or don't know a lot about her, this would be a kind of great light book to read. It's definitely a light read, something that will have you laughing a little bit, and maybe a nice introduction into who Ellen is and why she is. Then the next 2 books of my 4 are both by Mindy Kaling. Is Everyone Hanging Out Without Me, and then Why Not Me by Mindy Kaling. I listened to Is Everyone Hanging Out Without Me and then immediately got on the wait list for Why Not Me, and then as soon as Why Not Me became available, I listened to it again. Both of these books took me 2 days to listen to part of them in the car, part of them in the gym, part of them while I was tidying up. They're quite interesting reads because she, again, a bit like Rachel Dratch, she doesn't hold back. She's completely open and honest, and she talks about the fact that, you know, the media kind of labels her as like a chubby girl, and the fact that they are interested in, you know, what she's wearing and who she's with now that she's become famous, but they wouldn't care otherwise, and how, you know, if she was your dentist or your teacher, then she would just look like a normal person, but because she works in Hollywood, that's why she's got this kind of chubby, real, brave label attached to her, which was quite an interesting aspect. And I was really hoping that the book wouldn't focus too, well, either book wouldn't focus too heavily on that, and it doesn't. She says, you know, this is how it is, this is how I feel about it, now let's move on. She's quite aware of the fact that this is kind of the label that surrounds her, and so she doesn't want to talk too much about it. In the first book, it's interesting because she talks about wanting a Ghostbusters reboot, but all female, which is interesting because it happened. And she talked about wanting a kind of Ocean's 11 prequel slash reboot, but all female. And that's also happening, and she's starring in that. So I think it's really interesting. I don't know if like she was involved majorly in either of those projects with those ideas, or if someone's just listened to them, or it's just coincidence, but that was a really funny moment for me. It's also interesting hearing how she kind of broke into Hollywood through writing and not through acting, and how, you know, there is a slightly niche market for her look in the Hollywood land. And again, like the other two books that I've talked about, both of these books have interesting anecdotes that will definitely make you laugh out loud because they've been written by a comedy writer. So there you go. So those are 4 of the autobiographies slash memoirs that I have read recently. I am sure I will have some more to bring to you because I really do like listening to these type of audiobooks. I've already got a couple more lined up on my phone, ready to listen to while I'm away, hopefully. So I will have another video similar to this for you in the near future. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you're not already subscribed, please do click the subscribe button. I'd love to have you on board. I will see you soon. Goodbye.